Poached eggs seem simple, but making them at home is always a mess. Either the whites scatter everywhere, or the surface is rough and bumpy. And when you take a bite, the whites are too firm. But actually, a perfect poached egg isn't hard. It should have a smooth, rounded shape, silky, tender whites, a runny yolk, and cream pure flavor. Today, I'll break down the real reasons why poached eggs fail, and then share a foolproof method. Plus, this method lets you easily cook several at once. Let's start with how most people do it. Bring water to a boil, drop the egg right in, cook for 3 minutes, and take it out. The result has 3 problems. First, the water is full of stray threads and foam. Second, the appearance is rough and bumpy. Third, although the yolk is runny, the whites are too firm and not tender enough. So what's really going wrong? Let's look at each issue. Where do those threads and foam come from? The answer lies in the egg itself. Look, a fresh egg has a nice round full yolk. Around the yolk, this ring that's bouncy like jello, that's the thick white. It holds the yolk firmly in place. And this watery, runny stuff on the outside, that's the thin white. Now look at an older egg. The yolk has flattened and collapsed. The thick white has thinned out. You can barely tell them apart anymore. There's tons of thin white spreading all over the plate like a puddle of water. These thin whites are the source of all those threads and foam when they hit the water. So for poached eggs, you must use fresh eggs, and you need to strain out the thin whites. So why is the shape rough and the whites too firm? There's really just one culprit: boiling water. The violent rolling deets the whites into a bumpy mess, and the high heat overcooks the outside before the yolk even gets warm. So the key is simple: avoid boiling. You might have heard of the traditional Western method. Add vinegar and create a whirlpool. This method does make a shape rounder, but it leaves a noticeable vinegar taste that's not great for people sensitive to vinegar. Plus, you can only cook 1 egg at a time. My shallow poach method solves all these problems. It's super simple. Just 4 steps. Step 1. Use a fine mesh strainer to strain out the thin whites, then place the strained egg into a small bowl with a little bit of water. This makes it slide out more smoothly later. Step 2. Prepare a shallow amount of water in the pan, just enough to cover an egg, about 3 centimeters deep. Once the water boils, turn off the heat. This calms the water down, so there are no strong currents hitting the egg. Step 3. When the bubbles in the pan disappear, hold the bowl close to the water surface and gently slide the egg in. Because the water is shallow, the egg doesn't fall far, so the whites won't break apart. Step 4. Cover with a lid and let it sit for 3 to 4 minutes. No heat needed. The residual warmth is enough. No boiling, no turbulence. The whites can set slowly, which is why they turn out so tender. Look at that. Perfectly smooth and round, with no stray threads. Cut it open, and the yolk flows out. Take a bite, and the whites are silky and tender. This method has one huge advantage. You can cook multiple eggs at once. Same method. Gently place the 4 eggs in 1 by 1, cover with a lid, and let sit for 3 to 4 minutes. Then you have it. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe. See you next time.